So we're going to record. I'm going to feed some arboreal snakes, and right now we're going to be working with Amazon Basin emerald tree boas. And these guys are originally from Brazil, so they're very rare and they're often the bucket list, one of the bucket list snakes that people always dream of owning because they're large size, they're exotic look, and they're generally sweet disposition. They're very trusting and they have huge teeth. And you want a snake with huge teeth to be something you rely on. So we're going to feed some. I'm going to go over some of the points about feeding these. So we're going to use, I'm defrosting a bunch of rodents right now. So basically Rodent Pro, we have a 10% off code right now. To get your rodents, you can save 10% on that. Link in the description for the 10% off on the Rodent Pro code. Make sure when you make your order, use the code and you'll save 10% on all your orders. Okay, so we're going to feed some snakes now. So I've heated these rodents up and we're going to use, I like to use in this case, if I can, I want to use tweezers over locking forceps. Hey, buddy. So he's just gotten a little bit defensive. And let's see. Here we go. Is it good? Okay, so there we go. So that's good. I knew he would eat. These guys are eating really well. So these are anywhere 3 months old to easily over a year. And these guys take, like I said, finesse. We are working in an 82, 84 room temperature. Humidity is probably 80%. One thing I want to show you, start noticing some of these perches that we're using. These are plastic 3D printed perches. And right now I've been using some new ones from Specialty Enclosures, and I love them. They're these darker perches. These guys, I chose to get the option with the water bowl insert. And these are quite spectacular. So one thing I did, I went around and I sprayed some of these snakes and I woke up each one of these. He's gonna take it, there we go. See that? So right now an appropriate size would be a fuzzy crawler mouse. My bigger ones are generally eating rat pups. Most of these guys are all now taking, right now, defrosted mice. So that animal is maybe more asleep, maybe it's disinterested. So what I'll do is I'll periodically go down the line and I'm gonna rub them. So one thing I did, I went around and touched everybody a little bit ago. And then I went and sprayed them, trying to wake everybody up. The time to really do this is at night. We'll just go right down the line. My rodents are cooling off. One thing when you are defrosting rodents is if you use really hot water when you're first defrosting your rodents, you'll tend to almost cook your rodents a little bit. So when they're initially frozen, you could go to just like warm water, give them a little while so a lot of that ice melts, and then you come back with hotter water as you get towards the deadline. Right now I'm just waking these guys up. We had a little bit of downtime. I had them all awake a little bit ago, but having to get the camera up and going and deciding, hey, this is a good opportunity. Okay, here we got a good snake right here. He's excited. Let me out. So he's excited about the smell. One other thing you're gonna notice, see right here? I put a bin of rodent shavings. And the rodent shavings are to get these guys a little bit excited. Yep. Sometimes, so what you want to, oh, wow, is that cooling down quick. You want to point that nose. Okay, here it goes. So that was just because it was a little bit hotter, Donnie. See that?
Yeah.
You don't want to scare them. You want them thinking. So sometimes that's why I just come back. Perfect. That's picture perfect. That's just what I want to see. The dysfunctions. Hi, buddy. There we go. Come out of the water. So usually you don't have as much dysfunction. Right here. because I don't have any disturbances. So much more work with it. Hey, buddy. No, I'm going to take away your... Oh, he won't let me. So this guy right here. Ridiculously defensive. This right here is shedding. So let's just get rid of a handful that, let's see, fed. So I have, that one's already fed. So I'll just come through, do that. A couple things in this video. Generally, these are nocturnal animals. We're trying to feed nocturnal animals during the day. They're not largely diurnal, so we have less opportunity to get as many to want to eat because they want to sleep. A couple things. When you're dealing with these animals, you make sure you pick the right size perches. Smaller perches than you'd actually think. Large perches, they're not as comfortable. Always make sure they have adequate water, very accessible to them. Also spraying them down because sometimes they don't realize a water dish is their water. But these animals live in a rain forest, so it's always raining and they're drinking a lot of their water off of their coils and off of any of the perching and leaves around them. Make sure the food isn't too big. It should be large enough just to give them a little bump in them. Feeding is about every 10 to 14 days. Just because they want to eat doesn't mean you should, because you can easily back these guys up. You'll start getting problems. They can get constipated. So this is more like an animal. It's almost like a house plant. So we're dealing with emerald tree boas, northern shield nose, and Amazon basins. A little bit hardy and a little bit less problematic would be the Amazon tree boas, Trinidad tree boas, annulated tree boas, and such. Even Madagascar tree boas, Sanzinia. Those are remarkable. Actually harder and harder to find. Certainly have green tree pythons, which are very often very, very straightforward. But right now we're actually playing with Amazon basins, which are a little fickle, but they're a super remarkable species that I really enjoy a lot because they are luxury. Now I'm going to show you how to undersize. Hi guys. No. Oh, I got one that's out. This one's moving. So this is an animal telling you, see right here?
Yep.
I want to eat. Right there, wobble, wobble, wobble. So that's what you want. That's an active hunter.
There we go.
Oh. More. Here it comes. But you see how resistant they are to wanting to wake up, because they just know it's daytime. There's light and they don't want to do it. They don't want to be part of it. Oh, there she is. She's like, I'm gonna be shy. They know this is not the time to get fed.
There you go.
Yeah, but it just takes a while. He wants it. There he is. Hi, buddy. He's like, what are you doing giving me such little dinky stuff? This is definitely... And voila. All right, so the one thing hopefully you gain, I was just kind of show you the trials and tribulations of being a reptile keeper, managing a lot of different species. You need to know what your boundaries are, so when you're trying to feeding animals, and you have an animal, like for some reason it's not stimulated enough to eat, I have to make sure my husbandry is correct. I have to make sure I'm nailing the proper temperatures and humidity, the activities, its mental well-being, and then I can go through the food opportunities and also realize, like, I have some animals right now that just don't want to eat because it is daytime, nighttime. So if I'm coming around here at 10 o'clock, they want to eat. They're out moving, and when these animals are moving, they're actively looking for something that's going to facilitate their hunger. We're in a monitor room right now, so there's a lot of stuff like that. But for Donny is here, so we wanted to get a little bit of education into this about, you know, it can't show you everything as a success, because keeping reptiles often is filled with a lot of failure. And it's generally failures because I don't know enough, and I have to constantly tweak my abilities and define how to better meet the needs of these animals. And hopefully by me publicly showing you that, it'll help you kind of dial in your little things, and maybe you can keep it better than I can, or maybe I'm doing a better job. That is hopefully just providing information that is then viewable. You can learn from that and benefit, because I deal with a lot of animals and I kind of know a lot about reptiles. Say goodbye, guys. Hey guys, if you have any usable, sensible, accurate, non-sarcastic tips that you want to give us at Nerd, please leave in the comments below. And we really do appreciate all your comments, and hopefully you're enjoying some of these videos. Donny forced me back into some of these videos, so some of you will probably be upset now.
Some of you will be happy.